Never let anybody see you sweat. So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Bodie Higgins claims he paid for an engagement party, only to have his fiancée dump him, so he wants a refund. Miriam Doyle says she called off the wedding when she found out her ex proposed to her with a lab-made diamond.
Okay, Mr. Higgins, you are suing your former girlfriend for $1,375, which was your share of an engagement party that turned out to be a waste because she broke up with you. All right, what happened?
Yeah, I met Miriam 3 years ago. We met through a mutual friend, and we hit it off right away. I'm suing her today for the amount of $1,375 because after I proposed to her, she broke up with me after finding out that this was a lab-grown diamond.
Okay, let's back up. So you bought her an engagement ring, and she wasn't part of the purchase?
No, so the conversation initially started 2+ years into our relationship. I had posed the question. I had asked her, what kind of ring she wanted. And I actually have those texts here, Your Honor.
And what does she say?
OMG. Diamonds, of course. I want a big, fat rock in all capitals.
Let me see the
Thank you. And I, being who I am, obliged. That's what I wanted to provide for her, so.
How is this conversation coming up in text? Am I the only one who thinks this is weird? Honey, what kind of rings do you like? Oh my God, diamonds, of course. I want a big fat rock. I want to get you the most beautiful ring. Don't worry, the proposal will be a surprise. Really? I can't wait to be your wife. Okay, well, works for you guys. Okay, it's fine.
We talked more in person, Your Honor.
Okay.
That was sort of the initial start of the conversation.
All right, so she wants a big fat rock that's a diamond, and then what happens? You go out and you purchase?
I did a lot of research. I didn't really know which direction to go in at first, and the first thing that I found out is that rings are extremely expensive.
Yeah, diamonds? Yeah.
The particular ring that I purchased for Miriam was quoted at 80 grand, the real thing.
Okay, meaning the size? When you say the particular ring, you mean the size that she wanted?
If this particular ring were a real diamond.
If that were a blood diamond, it would be $80,000, but it's a lab-created diamond, correct?
Correct.
And let me see the diamond. My understanding is that a lot of people are doing that these days, either because it's kind of interesting because what's happened in the industry is that since so many young people are getting smart and doing that, I mean, I call it smart, you call it offensive. I get that, and this is your life, so I'm not judging you. And I say that because I'm wearing a real diamond, but since people are getting smart, the price of diamonds has come down.
And
so now it's going back and forth on which ones become more popular. Hold on one second.
Your Honor, I didn't even know that lab-created diamonds existed until after the proposal. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel, Bodie, you're making it a lot about the ring
Don't talk to him directly. Talk to me.
Sorry, Your Honor.
The time to talk to him directly has passed.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I would assume something like this could be worked out. When you find somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with, I don't imagine that you're going to dump them because it's not an expensive enough ring.
Correct, Your Honor. And it was never about the price. It's about how I felt, and I felt super betrayed when he basically omitted the fact that it was a lab-created diamond. I felt like he was trying to hide something, and to me, it was almost like I didn't feel, when I found out that it was a false diamond, I felt that he didn't think that I deserved a real ring. Like, he didn't think that I was good enough.
I spent $5,000 on this ring.
It's not about the price. It was never about the price.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you ever tell her, listen, if you want an enormous rock, I can only afford X, so it's not going to be enormous.
I didn't, Your Honor.
If you want it bigger, I can do lab-created, like maybe include her in the conversation.
Part of what went into all of this is the woman that I met was kind, considerate and empathetic.
Then why didn't you feel okay asking her to be in on the decision?
I assumed that we would be on the same page.
Right.
I assumed that just what goes into procuring these diamonds is disgusting.
Oh, that's not why you did it. You did it because of the money, right?
Yeah.
Which is okay. That's also a good reason. You don't need to be embarrassed about that.
It's both, you know. If she wants a big fat rock, I'm gonna give her a big fat rock.
No,
Okay.
you're being cheap.
So then you walked. So then you decided that you wanted an engagement party, correct?
Correct, yeah. It's
He did
always
not want an
been-
engagement party.
Initially, he did not, no. So it's always been a dream of mine to have an engagement party where all our friends and family and people we're close with could come and essentially celebrate. And so
But it wasn't
originally...
Wait a second. Do not talk to each other. Look at me and talk to me. I'm talking to her right now. Go
I
ahead.
apologize.
Sorry, Your Honor. So originally, I had mentioned to him, hey, can we have this engagement party? And I actually have the text messages where he initially said no, he didn't want to. But then I expressed to him, like, hey, I've always really wanted to have this. And then he agreed.
Okay.
But understanding that he didn't fully want to have it originally, I was 100% open to splitting the cost. I wasn't asking.
Wait a minute. That's big of you. I don't understand. He doesn't want it. I thought you were going to say I was 100% open to paying for all of it.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I started chatting with my cousin Gina, and she mentioned to me, she was like, hey, I know how much Bodie makes a year. How is he affording a ring that size and that big?
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Bodie Higgins, who is suing Miriam Doyle for half the cost of an engagement party.
You have the engagement party. You each split the cost of the engagement party. That's actually what you're suing for here today.
Correct, yes.
And when you're at the engagement party, what happens?
So at the beginning of the party, it was great. Friends and family were there. Everyone was having a good time. But then about halfway through, I started chatting with my cousin Gina, who I've been super close with. She mentioned to me, she was like, hey.
Gina is mean.
Just a moment, honey. Go ahead.
She was like, hey, the ring is gorgeous. And by the way, I was obsessed with the ring. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I mean, I love showing it off. But she said it was beautiful, but she's like, hey, I know how much Bodie makes a year, roughly. Like, how is he affording a ring that is that size and that big? And honestly, I never really thought about it, which maybe sounds naive of me.
Quite.
Sure, but I trusted that I never doubted that it would be a fake diamond. Again, I didn't even know.
You mean lab created. When you say fake, you mean lab created, right?
Lab created, which in my mind, I see them as kind of the same.
So your cousin Gina said, that has to be lab created. That's not a genuine diamond.
Correct.
And you said, don't be silly.
Yes, but I did have this kind of this pit in my stomach, where I was like, I don't know, now that you mention it, I'm like, it is kind of strange because it is a big ring. It's a huge ring.
And that
right?
never occurred to you beforehand?
No, I honestly didn't think about it. I trusted him.
So in
I
your
was
mind,
an athlete.
wait a second. So in your mind, you have a rock the size of Gibraltar on your finger, with a guy who you know how much he makes, and it never occurs to you to wonder how he afforded it, if he's putting you in hock for the rest of your lives over it, if he has loan sharks, nothing occurs to you because you don't have to think about things because you're pretty. And Gina's not that nice, okay? Because Gina shouldn't be bringing this garbage up at your engagement party.
I think she agreed she could have chosen a better
I think she
time.
could bring it up the next day or keep her mouth shut, one or the other. So tell me what happens.
Yeah.
The rest of the night now you're angry.
I am, yeah. So I realize it's not the best
you ruin
time to
your
bring
own
it up.
engagement party over Gina. Or Gina ruins your engagement party. Both of you ruin your engagement party.
Respectfully, I don't think it was ruined, but I definitely
Well,
felt...
let's ask you. How did it go, Bodie?
It was horrible.
Yeah, because she starts being cold to you during the evening.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know what was happening, and I tried talking to her about it, and she didn't want to talk at the time.
I didn't feel like it was the right time, Your Honor. So I decided to wait. We did go home that evening, and I still was pretty upset, and I didn't want to talk about it. But honestly, I still wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that it was real. Don't laugh.
Don't talk to each other, please. Go
Sorry,
on.
Your Honor. So I took it the next day. I didn't tell him I was going to take it. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt? That's just you going behind his back and checking it out. Why don't you want to give him the benefit of the doubt? Ask him.
Well, I was right.
Why don't you just
right?
ask? Yeah, I know, but why don't you just ask him? You'd be right then too. If you ask, and you talk about his communication level, what about yours?
I guess I felt, okay, that's fair. I think I felt bad though. Like I did not want to accuse my fiance. I mean, I loved him. I thought this was
How about
the man.
just, hey, Gina brought up blah, blah, blah. How did you afford this? Is this lab created or is it, you couldn't just do that?
Viewers asked, and now Judge Milian has the answer.
I paid someone $500 to design a website for me, but we've only met once to discuss the details of the site and have not been able to get our schedules together for the next 3 months after that. Can I get my money back?
Oof. The first question that pops into my head is, do you have any kind of written contract or written established evidence of the agreement and of the payment changing hands, things like that? If it's, I gave him $500, it's an uphill battle to get something resolved. If
but
you
why
don't have
would
the
they even be
terms.
entitled to any of the money back if the questioner's saying because of both our schedules? It sounds like
Right.
they should work harder to get their schedule together,
Right.
not like the other person is constantly saying, I don't have time, I don't have time.
Right.
So for you to be able to back out of a deal, whether it's written or oral,
Right.
you have to have evidence that the other person breached.
Right.
So if you're both just so busy
If
and
you're
you've
not
changed your
enabling
mind.
the contract, if you're somehow an obstacle to the contract,
Yeah, if you're
getting
also
accomplished.
an obstacle by constantly having it, then no, I don't think you're going to get your money back.
Right.
You know.
Even when it's something simple, if you're hiring somebody to mow your lawn that day, it's good to have a written record of what the terms are.
Yeah,
you
nobody's
know?
going to write out something for that, but
Right.
luckily nowadays we have texts and emails and
Right.
other ways of documenting an agreement.
Right, but little things turn into big things.
Yeah.
I didn't know you meant that part of the lawn. I did this part of the lawn, So it's, little things.
That happens all the time with construction, though.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and it's not so little, you know?
Absolutely.
And then it's like, no, that's extra. No, that's extra.
Yeah, you hire somebody to put a new roof on, and they do the roof, and then the water's still coming in, and they go, oh, that's because
That's
you have
in another
dormer.
part of the
You have
roof.
a dormer window up there. Dormers are excluded.
Oh,
We
there
don't do
are.
that.
That's- we don't- yeah,
You
right.
know, we can do that for another 10 grand.
Yeah, right,
so
right.
So yeah, you want to try to cover as much as you can in writing always, and then you don't have these misunderstandings.
Coming up,
Either that or that you put a tremendous amount of pressure on someone whose income you know. I want a huge rock, like you're marrying a Rockefeller.
But we could have talked about.
You could have talked about it, but instead you dumped him, right?
Sure, but he wasn't interested in doing a blood diamond anyway.
you're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Bodie Higgins, who is suing Miriam Doyle for half the cost of an engagement party.
So you take it somewhere and they tell you, no, this is lab created, and then what?
Correct, and I'm crushed. Honestly, like I'm hurt. Like, yeah, sure, I'm mad, but I'm mad because I'm devastated. I really didn't think that the man that I knew I was gonna marry before, the man that I had spent 3 years of my life with, didn't see me as a valuable enough fiance or
Either that or
girlfriend.
that you put a tremendous amount of pressure on someone whose income you know. I want a huge rock, like you're marrying a Rockefeller. Like maybe you shouldn't have said that.
But we could have talked about.
You could have talked about it, but instead you dumped him, right?
Sure, but he wasn't going to give. He wasn't interested in doing a blood diamond anyway. And even if he would have came back and been like, hey, I have a blood diamond for you today, it's not the ring itself.
Right. So
It's that I
so
felt
look at me and
betrayed.
not him. So if in fact that's the case, we could have talked about it means nothing. That is a meaningless statement on your part in my courtroom. Because the truth of the matter is that you were angry that he didn't buy you a genuine diamond, embarrassed you in front of Gina, and so you dumped him. You decided the course of the rest of your life has to look different over this one issue. This was something you guys couldn't talk about and work out and, kind of come to a happy medium. Life is full of compromises. If you think it isn't, you are nuts. So if you think that that is a game changer, then you didn't find the right guy, because you wouldn't have felt that way if he was the right guy for you. But you don't think he's the right guy. There's no other explanation, or you're an idiot.
Coming up,
It's so hard to pick the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and then over that, you change the course of your life. That, to me, is amazing.
I just feel like
That's the most, I know, just don't keep repeating yourself. I heard you. I just can't believe you. I'm stunned.
you're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Bodie Higgins, who is suing Miriam Doyle for half the cost of an engagement party.
Now,
I just don't understand how I could trust again. Trust
Really?
him.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
really?
When you came to me and asked me, what kind of ring is this?
What would you have said?
I told her. We
Right.
had that conversation.
That's
He didn't
after the
tell me
fact.
ahead of time.
Nah, you're not picking up what I'm putting down. Let me just tell you something for the next one. Do not do that after the fact. Do it before the fact. Because it's so hard to pick the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and then over that, you change the course of your life. That's, to me, is amazing.
I just feel like
That's the most, I know, just don't keep repeating yourself. I heard you. I just can't believe you. I'm stunned because it is so silly. In other words, when you decide who you want to spend your life with, this shouldn't be the be-all and end-all of it, okay? Because you spent 3 years with the guy. If you spent 3 years with the guy, did he ever cheat on you, fool you, lie to you, anything? No. If this is what you consider a lie just because a topic doesn't come up and you're putting tremendous diamonds, of course, I want a big fat rock. And then he goes out and buys a big fat rock that's a lab-created diamond in his pea brain. He thinks that that's fine. He doesn't realize how upset you're going to be because apparently he doesn't know you very well either.
which he should
So,
have for 3
yeah, he
years,
should have. He
right?
should have known that you were much more materialistic. All right. Now, after having discussed all that, let's discuss the legal issue that is in front of me, which is that you now want me to go retroactively back to the engagement party and the agreement on the engagement party, which was that the two of you would split it. And you want me to turn around and decide that this is now a debt that she owes you because, after all, she dumped you.
Well, I believe that when I proposed to her, I'm making a commitment for life. And we had the engagement party with the plan of getting married. And I held up every single part of my end of that bargain. I showed up for her.
Judge Milian's verdict when Justice for the People returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
As to the case at hand, which is whether I'm supposed to go back and see a completely willing commitment that you made of paying for half of a party that half of it was your friends and everybody enjoyed.
It wasn't willing.
Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care who had more friends there.
No, I didn't want to have the party.
Okay.
And I entered.
I need the two of you to zip it.
Yes, Your Honor.
You both understand what I mean?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the next person who talks gets thrown out. You want that to be your end?
No, Your Honor.
So stop talking. If at the time that you spent the money, it was not a loan, it doesn't magically become a loan now. If at the time that you spent the money, you spent it willingly, it doesn't magically become a debt that she owes you now. I realize what your argument is. Yeah, but then she dumped me. So what? That's life. We don't turn around and change the terms of your agreement on the engagement party because you're disappointed. Verdict for the defendant.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
If he would have put a real diamond on it, we would still be together.
You are selfish and materialistic, and you're never going to find anyone who is willing to go as far as I was for you.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.